Good morning and welcome to devotions for Thursday the 3rd of November. As you can probably see from behind me, I'm back in Kenya and I'm going to go off to work in a couple of hours. It's good to be back. Today's reading is from Matthew chapter 18 and verses 1 to 14. In Capernaum, Jesus called a child to him. He was at home in that town. It was the home of Peter and his family and other fishermen. He knew it well. So it's likely that he would have known the local children and that the children would know him. So when he called one of them to come to him, the child came and stood amongst them. Then he spoke to the disciples about children. As someone who's never had children, I find it hard to talk about them in the same way that a lot of you can. I don't go gooey-eyed over newborn babies or little children and everything they learn to say, but I can appreciate them. When we had the summer special at Lanchester this summer, I actually got to know 3 of them, even though I was serving behind the counter, serving the adults with tea and coffee. In most village Africa, the children are cared for by all of the adults, not just the parents. Any adult can tell a child off when they're doing something wrong, and the child will take it positively. Any adult in the village can look after a child when it's fallen and grazed its knee and can comfort the child and clean up the wound. And that's seen as normal. It's not interference. But what's Jesus saying here about children? What's he saying in our day and age and our culture? I think, and I may be wrong, but I think it's that when people have a childlike faith, we're not to spoil it for them. A new believer cannot cope with the in-depth analysis of scriptures and the apparent contradictions that are there. A new Christian needs to have their faith built up. We're not to look down on them. We're not to look down on people who have a less secure faith than we do. We're to care for them, to nurture them, to help them to grow in their faith, and not be a stumbling block to them. I rather like what Jesus says recorded in verse 10. For I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. If children have angels looking out for them, why don't we? Maybe we do. I like that thought, that there's an angel in heaven facing God the Father who's looking out for me. Our angels are there. And I find that comforting. 2 things then from this passage. 1, be careful not to hinder the faith of somebody who's not got as much faith as we do. And remember that we are cared for by our God in heaven. Even if sometimes it feels that God's not that close to us and that near to us. And just a little thanks from me and from us in Kenya. For the last 3 nights we've had rain and we are praising God. It's wonderful. We're so thankful that at least the grass will now grow, the cattle will get fatter. At the moment they're just skin and bones. We'll get milk. The chickens have something to eat. We'll get eggs. And hopefully in January we'll have a harvest, if the rains continue, and that's what we're all praying for. So thank you for joining us in our prayers, and for the whole of this region of Africa. God bless you all. Thank you.